Good morning, guys. It is December 22nd, Thursday, and I wanted to touch base with you. First and foremost, next time I see you guys, I have a gift for you that I want to give to you guys. So nothing big at all, but it's important. So, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about whenever you see it. So. Great news. We are talking about, I know Chris and I have been talking a lot about putting together a webcast to kind of like a podcast, but in a web format, right? Kind of like what I'm doing right now, talking to you guys via video, but having other people come on as well. So I'm really excited about that. We've got a few more kinks to work out, but it's on its way. So want to talk about step 9, making amends. Why do we make amends? We have to make amends because we have to take action. And what I mean by that is just going and saying I'm sorry. We've burned that word. That word is meaningless. Words that we say are meaningless. Oh, son, I'll stop drinking. I promise you I'll stop drinking. And then I go right back out and drink, right? So my son learned to disregard the words I was saying. But what is meaningful to my son and what is meaningful to others in our lives is not necessarily what we say, but what we do. What we do. Action. Action speaks a lot louder than words, right? So whenever I say I'm going to get sober, my son would be like, yeah, okay, Dad, whatever. He just didn't believe me. Or if I say I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. Well, it just didn't believe me. But when he saw that I stopped drinking and that I was serious, that changed his tune. I asked him not too long ago, how long did it take for you to believe that I was going to stop drinking? He said it about whenever I was about the 6-month mark is whenever he finally realized, oh gosh, that's serious. So it takes time. Time takes time. Remember that, guys. So finish up your amends, and as you when you've reached that stopping point with your amends, I should say, let me know. And any outstanding amends that need to be made, that you'd like my help with, let me know. I'll be more than willing to help you out. That's my role, right? So also grab your notebook and paper real quick. I want to do a quick breakdown. I was thinking about this last night, and I want to make sure I at least cover it. As far as the page breakdown of the big book, obviously the first 164 pages of the book, that's our meat and potatoes, right? Step 1 is pretty much well defined within pages 1 through 43. Think about that. The first 43 pages out of 164 pages all deal with step 1. Step 2 is covered from page 47 through 53. And 53, it basically asks you point blank, do you now believe, or are you willing to believe in a power greater than yourself? I mean, that's pretty point blank, right? Step 3 starts on page 60, and on page 63 is the step 3 prayer. Step 4 is on pages 64 through 71, and step 5 through 11 are all in chapter 6. And of course, step 12 are all in chapter 7. So keep that for future reference. And the last thing I want to talk about is how to limit expectations. And what I mean by that is when I first started running again, I didn't go right out and jump on a treadmill and start running right at a 9.0 speed. There's no way. I would have probably got thrown off. I would have got discouraged, and I'd have probably said, "Fuck this! I ain't gonna do it at all." Right? So I'd have fallen out of my exercise. I would. Well, actually, what I did do is I started out at a lower speed, like say at 5.0, a 5 mile per hour speed, right? And I worked my way up over time. Again, time takes time. Worked my way up, and to where I can now hit that 9.0, that 9 mile per hour speed, so, and it goes back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago about process goals versus outcome goals. I would spend, 3 times a week running at 5 miles per hour, and I did that for 4 weeks. And once I got comfortable doing that, then I'd spend the next 4 weeks after that running 3 times a week at, say, 6 miles per hour. And once after that 4 weeks of 6 miles per hour, I'd move it up. I'd keep moving it up until I got to the point where I could run at the speeds I wanted to run at. Those were my process goals. My process goal was running 3 times a week at 5 miles per hour for 4 weeks straight. That's a process goal. And all these process goals add up, and it ultimately led me to my outcome goal, which is to be able to run at a 9 mile per hour pace for at least 60 seconds. That was my process goal, or my outcome goal. So we can apply that same principle in our lives. I'm not, and what I mean by that is we need to limit our expectations. If we limit our expectations, we're a lot less likely to develop resentments, to be disappointed, things like that. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to go to a computer nerd and ask them how to fix a car. Promise you, you're never going to come to me and ask me how to fix a car and have me tell you correctly, because I know nothing about cars. I am not a car guy or a truck guy or any type of motor vehicle guy. You're not going to come to me and ask me about that and have me tell you correctly. What you're going to do is go, hey, Drew, you think about cars? I'm going to say, fuck no, I don't. And you're going to go, okay, thanks. You don't have that expectation. You've limited that expectation in your own brain. You need to manage your own expectations. Again, going back to the treadmill, I knew that if I just jump right on and try to run 9.0, shit, I'm not going to do that. It's not going to end well, and I'm going to quit, get disappointed, disheartened, and give up and quit early on. So don't expect someone who is so here's another example. Don't expect someone who is currently unemployed to pay you back, say, $200 that you may have loaned them last year. Set that expectation in your own mind. You don't necessarily have to tell them, hey, look, you don't have to pay me back. Don't say that. But in your own mind, set that expectation. Look, John owes me $200 from last year that I loaned him, and he's unemployed right now. He's having a tough time. So, you know what? I'm not going to expect that $200. What happens is when we start setting those types of expectations with ourselves, then we start reducing the amount of time or the amount of occurrences where we may get disappointed, upset, or even resentful towards somebody. So start practicing setting expectations in your own mind, but also setting expectations with other people. Just like yesterday, I shared with you guys that it's Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursdays are always my worst day. So if you try to call, it's a lot more difficult to get a hold of me if you call, but you can always text, and I can generally respond relatively quickly. That's a way I set expectations, right? So set expectations for yourself. Make sure they're reasonable, and make sure they're limited to where they stimulate just enough growth. But otherwise, set expectations for yourself and for others. It all helps in the grand scheme of things. So anyway, let you guys go. Love you guys. And remember, can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.